Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Filip Radukic, and I'm a product manager and senior consultant here at CI Experts. And as such, responsible for the UPV web services, browser-based viewing, and associated technologies. And this is also what today's webinar will be about. We're continuing our new webinar series, concentrating on various real-life use cases. And these use cases will show some examples on how the UPV ecosystem can be implemented to make processes run more smoothly, how to save time and effort, and utilize the various features of UPV at its best. Today's part 4 of the series will be covering a topic relevant to working in teams on design review and other use cases, and how UPV can assist you with handling communication around a digital twin. As always, this session will be recorded, and we will provide you the link to the recording subsequently by email. And as always, at any time during the webinar, feel free to use the questions panel, state your questions, and I will try to answer as many as possible after the live demo. So let's actually get straight into the matter. Today's agenda is an introduction to UPV web services and workflow system, a live demo covering use case handling and visualizing issues for design reviews, collaboration in projects, collaboration in maintenance, and well, what does it actually mean? During projects, turnarounds, and proof of concept designs, design reviews are inevitable. But especially these become a challenge when it comes to organizing the issues, logging changes, decisions, as well as tracking comments and changes. Many companies have developed their own approach, sometimes those solutions being simple pen and paper solutions, sometimes generic software solutions, for example, MS Access databases, where you basically place some screenshots and comments and maybe do printout or to PDF of the various issues and similar. So the UPV web services, UWS, is a package of tools around UPV to enhance collaboration in teams by offering a visual model overview with additional metadata, which is the UPV browser, seamlessly integrating UPV in a web environment, browser-based viewing, so without any local installation, and connecting the models in the collaboration environment, which is the workflow system to handle issues basically on a ticket-based approach. The full suite runs in a browser with no footprint and no additional software installation besides a up-to-date current browser version, while supporting the full bandwidth of features UPV offers. So what are the challenges? First of all, making models available to all stakeholders. What are the risks here? Inadequate hardware or permissions to access information. Next challenge is sharing comments with a team or stakeholders. Well, there's a loss of time for work organization, perhaps loss of information, maybe even missing access if the stakeholders are outside your company or corporate environment. Challenge is documenting changes or suggestions. The risk is unorganized storage on file servers, folder structures, and basically, again, loss of information because documents can't be found or suggestions just get lost. Another challenge is adding supplemental information. So perhaps you just want to add a comment or basically open discussion thread about a certain issue. Maybe even upload additional information. Well, the risk is missing details or necessary information here. So what is our solution? First of all, work seamlessly in one single environment. The fact is safe on switching applications. Experience some immersive working and save on time and effort here. No local software installation is required. Be independent from local software requirements or restrictions. No local hardware requirements. Use UPV and workflow system on any device connected to a network. So you don't have to worry about hardware requirements not being met on your client side. And connect selecting, viewing, and managing issues in your asset centrally. Save on time, switching between tasks, managing the document repositories, and finding information. So have basically an extension of your single point of truth here. Well, all this sounds quite interesting, but let's actually look at the details here in a live demo. So I've prepared a few things here. First of all, let's have a look and dig into the UPV web services. So I'll describe what the web services are, but what does this mean in detail? The UPV browser is a central place where your models are basically offered and sorted and organized. So besides having selection of the models, you also get additional metadata, for example, tags, or under information, you can even add additional descriptions, so making it easier to find documents, models, sorry. You can sort by all different types of ways. You can search for models. Let's say I want something that includes docs. So because it has the tag docs, it will give me the full demo plant. Or I just want to have S3D. So it will give me only those results that contain S3D in either the name or a tag. And you can also switch between tile view and list view here. So where does browser-based viewing come into place here? Well, many of you might know this as the successor to the folder browser to work with your local app. But additionally, you can view basically models of any size directly in the browser environment. So let me open this one here in the browser. As you see, models of no matter what size can be preloaded and made instantly available with no loading times for the user, while offering the full bandwidth of UPV features. So UPV is basically completely running independently from your local hardware. But let me close this. What is the third part, the workflow system, in this context? We can go here to workflows, and we have a central database here now that can store issues that you had during design reviews or while you're working on maintenance issues, while you're discussing turnarounds and similar. Let's take a deeper look here. So what does it actually mean handling visualizing issues for design reviews? Let's start by creating a ticket. Basically, I add a workflow here. I give it a name and say design review issue on 002 and plan project, so I can select from existing plans. I'll just pick the full demo plan and I assign it to me. The workflow type will be, let's say, a change request in the design review, and the stakeholders will actually be the admin and me. So the stakeholders, where do they come from? Depending on the permission you give to a certain workflow, only those that have permission to access this project will also be available for selection as stakeholders. So the order is new. That's correct. No, not approved. So let's leave it with new. Area would be, for example, the refining area A, a PIN ID, let me see. I'll just pick the first one here. And the discipline would be, let's say, piping. And I can even define a due date. Say, okay, this issue needs to be resolved by Friday next week. I could also add a note. I'll leave that for later. So when I save this ticket, basically this is it. I've created a ticket here. And now we can start working with this design review issue. So how do we connect to browser-based viewing? Since the workflow has already, or the project has been already connected to a 3D model and browser-based viewing. All we have to do now is just hit the Show 3D Model button. And our plant will open next to our ticket here. So what can we do with it? We can add information here, just like you would be using the files tree in the regular UPV. This is a bit too small for me to work, so I can just click here and maximize my view, and it will adapt to my screen. So now I can work absolutely as I'm used to with UPV. So here, I just say, okay, the issue was piping. Let me actually add a sketch here and say, suggestion 1. And now let's start piping here in the sketch. And I know this pipeline does not make any sense at all, but it's just for the sake of demonstration here. So I can basically add components here and so on and so on and so on, but that's not what's actually interesting here. What's interesting is if I go back to the side-by-side view, I can now go ahead and say, okay, I want to save this ticket. So as you might have noticed in the files tree, we had another node next to the default model pod. We now have a DR002 pod, which matches exactly the name of our issue here. So I can hit save, and what happens here, let me close this. I do get a screenshot. I can actually see a preview here of what I've actually added. I can download this as a UPVF, and we have actually tracking of changes made to the ticket. So now I could add a comment, for example, hey admin, what do you think about this routing? And hit save. This piece is a comment. Now I'll just save you the time of logging as a different user, but basically let's pretend I was admin. And I can now type it doesn't look like you gave it all too much thought. Save it, and this way we can basically discuss the matter. So I can go ahead and say, okay, show me the 3D model again. Let me go to full screen. And here's my suggestion back again. So let me actually see this and say, okay, yes, this does not really make any sense. So how about I try to move this a bit. Okay. Or reroute. Oh yeah, it helps when you click moving. Here we go. And say, okay, let me actually leave this as it is, and say, okay, does this look any better? No, because the valves here are not in a proper place. So again, but let me save this suggestion here and say, is this better? And it will also save my changes, while the admin probably is going to say, actually, no. Let me do markup here. Well, actually, let's erase that and use red. Thing, no, the hand wheels need to be turned around. And again, saving the issue with the sketch. And again, in the history, you can track all comments, all markups, and make this available to the stakeholders. So commenting in tickets is what I've just shown here. What else can we do? Well, maybe I want actually to have some type of flyer, or at least leaflet, where I have the comments and the issues of this use case here. For this, you actually have a button, Create PDF. So it will convert our ticket into a PDF document here. And when I open the document, we get basically our planned project information, the properties we defined, and the history of changes we made. So you see all the screenshots and the comments with time and date stamp. So this way we can print this out and also take it into meeting if we really need it in pen and paper. But other than that, we can just close the ticket and filter, say, okay, I want to filter by DR002, or I can filter by type. Let me delete the filter again, select all, and say, I actually, no, I didn't want to sort it that way. I want only change requests. And I can also change the grid display I got here. The due date also changes according to how close the how close the event is. It will change colors from over yellow to red when the due date has been actually passed already. And you can also export a list of your full issues to Excel if you want to use this for additional analysis. Basically, collaboration in projects works the same way. So it's always the same principle. You can also, without connecting now to a 3D model, discuss an issue here. Just open a workflow thread and give it a name and say, okay, this is discussion on something. Plant project will still be full demo plant assigned to me. Stakeholders, I'll select all. And now I can say, okay, what's the workflow type? This would be, for example, internal rework. And does anyone have a list of open items? And basically, I've created the workflow here without even having to connect to the 3D model. Same thing goes basically for collaboration and maintenance. So what is if I have a maintenance issue that I faced out in the field? Exact same thing. Basically, I pick for the workflow type. I'm actually not overwrite this one, but create a new one and say flange leakage assigned to me, and this will be a malfunction report. All stakeholders, or for example, a maintenance team or whatever, status is new, severity is immediate action needed, area would be the refining area, P and ID. Let's keep this up. So this will be piping again, and the due date should be, well, today, because it's urgent. A note is detected on control round at 6 a.m. Save it, go into the issue again, and basically pick the information we need. In this case, I would just highlight this red and add a markup saying leakage. Added, red, highlighted, confirm, and save. This way, also communication within the maintenance team is made absolutely easy. And when the task is done, I can basically say, okay, hey, this has been finished, and the comment will be, plant has been replaced. And again, in our overview in workflows, I can now filter by the status and say, okay, what's new, what's finished, and so on. And as I mentioned, since the due date is today, it's already turned red to actually draw attention and say, hey, listen, something's going on here. But what are actually these eye symbols here behind some of the issues? That's our last screenshots we actually have here. So in this case, I can, before I open the ticket, I can actually view the screenshot of the issue and say, okay, no, that's not it. That's not the one I'm looking for. That's not it either. Okay, yeah, this was an addition I made in the P&ID. That's the one I'm looking for. So basically, you're able to focus on the issue itself instead of how to track it or how to communicate it. Design reviews are made easier just by naming rules. And I don't want to go too far into the details, but the properties within a ticket, here, everything that's under properties can be custom defined. That means you can create and define fields as you need them. And also the workflow types can be customized fully. And depending on that, you can get a maximum of information at a first glance and filter by, let's say, maintenance issues, filter by design review discussions, or filter by a proof of concept discussions where you just do sketch and say, hey, listen, what do you think if we did it this way? Before you even start working in a productive environment, no matter what it is, Plant 3D, S3D, E3D, before firing up your authoring software, you can already do a proof of concept design in UPV, especially with browser-based viewing, and then comment on it with a workflow system. So this will also be the end of the live demo.